Hello everybody, Kane Edit Reviews here, and today we'll be talking about World Trigger, specifically Black Triggers. As the title says, we'll pretty much go over everything you need to know about Black Triggers. What they are, how to make them, its history, how they're viewed in the story, the characters who have them, and its abilities. As well as talk about its position moving forward in the story in the future. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to support the channel, and I also have a Patreon for those who want early access to even more videos like this one. Thanks again for all the support, and let's get right into this. Everybody get your fucking hands up. So what exactly is a black trigger? First, let's just talk about what a normal trigger is. A trigger is something that manipulates and is powered by Tryon. They're usually combat-based weapons and they are produced through technology. Black triggers, however, can only be created by someone with high Tryon levels pouring their life and their entire Tryon reserves into something. Black triggers require someone's life and have a more magical sense to them compared to normal machine-made triggers. Black triggers reflect the personality of its creator, so it can only be activated by those who are compatible with the original user. Due to black triggers requiring a person's life, reflecting a person's personality, and requiring the entire Tryon reserves of someone with high Tryon levels, it becomes far more powerful than a normal trigger. An example of someone creating a black trigger and seeing its consequences can be seen in Yuma's backstory, where after being attacked and left dying by a black trigger user, Yuma's dad gave up his life to create a black trigger to save Yuma's life. Making a black trigger also requires a bit of luck, and according to Ashihara, people with side effects have a greater chance of leaving behind a black trigger than those without one. All these circumstances and strict rules involved in making a black trigger greatly reduces the number of volunteers who would actually give up their lives to make a black trigger, and because of this, the existence of black triggers themselves become incredibly rare. So we know black triggers are strong, but just how strong are they? Black triggers were said to be so strong that countries on the verge of winning wars were forced to flee due to the opponent creating a black trigger in desperation and completely turning the tables of the war. There were many cases of this happening, and due to that, most countries choose not to drive their enemies too far into a corner so they can lower the risk of black trigger activation. This just goes to show that black triggers are incredibly powerful and they can really boost up even a losing army, so much that winning armies tend to be more careful with how they win just so they can avoid a black trigger being summoned. Throughout the series, black triggers have been used a couple times and they've had very interesting abilities. In Yuma's backstory, we were told that a foreign mercenary had a black trigger and helped change the tide of the war. He also killed Yuma pretty much instantly, and the wounds Yuma received looked very terrible. However, nothing is known about its black trigger, its name, or its abilities. As well as the mercenary that attacked Yuma, Yuma himself is also a character with a black trigger. He received his black trigger through his father's sacrifice. His black trigger takes the shape of a ring and does not have an official name. Yuma's black trigger mainly shines through its seals. The black trigger he uses has 8 main seals so far seen in the story. The first seal is the bound seal. It's a seal that can repel people or objects. It's similar to a grasshopper in a way. The next seal is the boost seal. It's a seal that increases overall Tryon attack power. The next seal is the shield seal. It's a seal that provides a shield for defense, as the name implies. The next seal is the chain seal. It's a seal that summons chains and can be used to capture opponents. The next seal is the anchor seal. It's a seal that replicated the effects of a normal lead bullet, but far more stronger. The next seal is the bolt seal. It's a seal that can shoot ranged Tryon attacks. The next seal is the gate seal. It's a seal that generates a gate and can bring previously analyzed Tryon soldiers through. These soldiers also has access to other seals. And the last seal is Echo. It's a seal that scans the area and tells the user information about the terrain. It's very similar to echolocation. These seals can be combined together to make a unique compound seal, or it can be multiplied by itself to create an even stronger effect of an individual seal. Apart from his main abilities, the black trigger given to Yuma also has its own unique perks. One of the advantages of this black trigger is that it gives Yuma the side effect to detect lies. We've seen just how useful this ability is throughout the series. The black trigger was also used to substitute Yuma's original fatally wounded body with one made out of Tryon in order to slow down Yuma's inevitable death. Another perk of this black trigger that was given to Yuma is the ability to repair itself almost instantly when damaged. It also allows the Tryon to regenerate itself even though he's always in a Tryon body. The black trigger allows Yuma to activate normal triggers, which then swaps his usual Tryon body to an ordinary combat body that was generated by the trigger holder he's now using. Because of his black trigger, Yuma also no longer needs sleep and has greatly enhanced physical abilities even outside of his combat Tryon body. Yuma's black trigger also gives him the capacity to use its seals even without activating it properly or creating a combat body. This includes multiplier and compound seals. The seals can be used even when Yuma is in a Tryon body created by another trigger. Replica is also capable of using Yuma's black trigger and can also fuse with Yuma's Tryon body. Replica is needed to bring the full potential out of Yuma's black trigger since it was generally in charge of creating multiplier and compound seals. Overall, Yuma's black trigger is very detailed and has immense amount of room to grow since it can keep adapting, it can keep taking abilities, and the abilities it does take ends up being stronger. This versatility makes Yuma's black trigger incredibly dangerous since by endgame he would have probably amassed a huge amount of abilities that were all powered up from its original users. Ammo is another character who has a black trigger. Not so much is known about Ammo except that he's an S-rank agent who has a black trigger. We see the huge offensive power Ammo displays during the first invasion. He was not only able to handle his side of the war, but he also handled the side Jin was assigned to, presumably with no problems. We are still waiting on his specific black trigger name and abilities. Jin is another black trigger user. This black trigger was created by Soichi Mogami, and the black trigger is compatible with a relatively high number of border agents. Fujin is a powerful sword that combines both the advantages of the Scorpion and of the Kogetsu, which gives the user a big advantage in close quarters combat. Fujin has more sharpness and durability than the Kogetsu, and it's even lighter than the Scorpion. Fujin's main ability is that it can transmit its slashes through solid objects to strike wherever the user can see. The user slashes at a surface, which causes a line of light to travel alongside it, and at the user's command, a blade will emerge and attack. Fujin usually needs a visual on the opponent to attack properly, but having an ally tell them where the opponent is can also lead the user to make a precise attack at that location. Fujin is also capable of producing multiple slashes before they're forced to recharge. This can be seen by the ethereal ribbon sprouting out from the blade. The Tryon capacity of the wielder determines how many ribbons can be generated. The higher the Tryon capacity, the more ribbons they can make before being forced to recharge. Overall, Fujin is a blade that excels in speed and range, and its compatibility with a high number of border agents gives us the opportunity in the future to see many specialized attackers use this specific trigger in many unique ways. Visa is another character with a black trigger. He's from Autocrator, and the black trigger, his name is called Organin. Organin is one of Autocrator's national treasures, and its original creator is unknown. For its abilities, Organin can produce up to 5 concentric rings around its handle. It has very similar configuration to common atomic models. The rings are capable of expanding outwards at incredible speed, and each of them produces 6 extremely sharp blades that spin along them. The user controls the radius and the angle of the rings. The rings aren't materialized like a summoning, but instead they're pulled back and forth. The speed is so quick, it's basically invisible to most people. We've seen its destructive power when Visa was able to level an entire city block in a blink of an eye, and was also easily able to slice the chains and weights created by Yuma's black trigger. The blades are not connected to the user themselves, so they can be used to strike from angles not normally possible with normal armed weapons. It's almost impossible to reach a skilled Organin user without getting cut, but if someone does manage to get through, Organin also has a blade concealed within itself, which grants the user a method of fighting in close quarters combat as well. Overall, Organin is easily one of the most deadly black triggers, and its versatility and range allows it not to only be powerful offensively, but defensively as well. Spiracia is a black trigger user from Autocrator. His black trigger is called Elector. Elector enables the user to create and control a variety of animal-shaped bullets. One of its abilities of Elector is that the objects made out of Trion that comes into contact with Elector's bullets are transformed into Trion cubes. The cubes are pretty much indestructible unless opened properly by engineers. Only a handful of bullets is sufficient enough to completely destabilize the Trion body, which makes Elector extremely dangerous. Even if the damage is not enough for the target to undergo cubification, the affected parts of the Trion body will become warped and unfit for use. The bullets can affect a wide variety of triggers, which include common ones like Scorpion, Kogetsu, or just Trion bodies in general. Elector also allows the user to use the Trion cubes to heal itself. This ability gives the user a big advantage in tight situations. Elector's bullets also move in very complex pattern on top of having massive offensive power, so it is assumed that it requires a huge amount of Trion to work at its best. We've seen 5 main types of animal bullets used with Elector. The first is fish-shaped bullets. Fish-shaped bullets were used the most, and they were generally moved in schools. This overwhelmed opponents with just its sheer numbers. They were also versatile enough to be used as a shield. The next is bird-shaped bullets. Bird-shaped bullets seem to be faster than fish-shaped bullets, and they also seem to be capable of more complex individual movement. The next is lizard-shaped bullets. Lizard-shaped bullets move along the ground, targeting the opponent's legs and sealing their mobility. The next is beast-shaped bullets. Beast-shaped bullets are the smallest type of bullets. Its extremely small size can be used to break through the opponent's defenses more easily, or it can be hidden within the user's clothes for surprise attacks. The final bullet is jellyfish-shaped bullets. Jellyfish-shaped bullets don't really move from the original position, acting like mines more than bullets. A single jellyfish, however, can completely disable the leg of a target. They are also transparent and nearly impossible to spot. Despite how amazing and useful this trigger can be, it still has some limitations. One limitation is that its bullets are only effective against constructs made out of Trion, and it dispels instantly if it touches anything else. This means it also doesn't work against living bodies. Elector also can distinguish between a cube that contains a Trion body and a cube that contains just a trigger. The user will have to physically touch it and analyze it to know. Overall, this trigger is incredibly versatile, incredibly powerful, and great for users who specialize in shooting. Mira is another black trigger user from Autocrator. Her black trigger is called Spiracia. The main ability for Spiracia enables the user to create 2-dimensional wormholes in locations of their choosing. It's similar to the gates neighbors use to travel to Earth, but Spiracia doesn't require rads and is extremely more versatile. The wormhole created is intangible, so it can be affected by attacks. She can use large wormholes called large windows or smaller wormholes called small windows. Large windows has many strategic uses, with the primary function being transportation. They can move troops or big objects in a matter of seconds, regardless of the distance. Large portals can also be used to dodge attacks and move opponents you don't really want to fight right now. One of the 2 sides of the large portal must be open close to the user. Portals can be created even in locations where the user cannot see, as long as they have the necessary coordinates. The main drawback is that large portals are very Trion consuming. Next is the small windows, which also has many uses. They can be created a few times, even when the user is no longer able to open large windows. Small windows can move human-sized people or things, but they can eject spikes or blades at very high speed to injure or kill a target. Multiple small windows can be opened at once, and it becomes more dangerous if it's always open in a target's blind spot. Small windows can also be used in defense to redirect opponent shots, or it can be used as support to fix the trajectory of ally shot, which would miss, but now it will hit due to the small window changing the course of its direction. It can also be used for long distance communication, and it doesn't require both sides to have a Trion body. The black trigger also allows the user to levitate in place, making them harder to beat than normal. Another drawback to this black trigger is that the opponents can also shoot into this portal regardless of whether you want them to or not. The user has to now be careful on where they're placed and where they lead to. Overall, the black trigger is amazing for support, amazing for transport, and amazing for gathering information. It can raise the level of any army considerably if used correctly. The last black trigger used on the list is Enedra. Enedra uses the black trigger called Volvoros. Volvoros is a black trigger that allows the user to freely control the physical state of the Tryon body. It can become liquid, gaseous, or solid at will. Changing your physical state at the right time allows one to become impervious to general attacks. Despite the advantage of changing the physical state to make normal attacks basically do absolutely no damage to you, a Volvoros user can still be defeated by destroying the Tryon supply system, which is vital for all functional Tryon bodies. No matter who you are, if that vital system is destroyed, you will lose your Tryon. However, that is easier said than done. Volvoros allows the user to circulate their vitals around their body, so attacking the usual fatal areas won't do much damage at all. It also allows the user to encase their vitals inside highly durable shells, allowing even astral bullets to not pierce it. Decoy shells can also be formed to confuse the enemy trying to attack the Tryon supply system. Even though Volvoros can be used in a very tricky way, its real strength lies in just its immense offensive power. Usual attacks from Volvoros consist of the user liquefying their body, extending it towards the target, and then solidifying again as blades or spikes. This allows the user to become extremely deadly even in the mid-range. The user can also use omnidirectional attacks and can sprout out deadly spikes from all directions, devastating its surroundings. Its power is enough to easily slice through Tryon bodies, and it can break a scorpion blade as well. Another dangerous technique Volvoros gives its user is the ability to turn into gaseous form and enter the opponent's body, and then solidifying into blades which inflict fatal internal damage. The gas is also invisible and can only be detected through Tryon detectors, so the success rate for this technique is incredibly high. The gaseous form also allows the user to be adept in infiltration, since they can enter highly protected facilities with ease. Its main weakness is that someone who has great knowledge and analysis on its ability can mitigate most of the special effects Volvoros can provide. Overall, Volvoros is easily one of the most dangerous black triggers, and is something that requires a vast amount of effort and analysis to stop. Its versatility with the different body states it can transform to, and the many ways it can cause deadly damage, really helps the weapon live up to its black trigger status. As said earlier in the video, black triggers are incredibly rare. With all the limitations and luck involved in making one, they become powerful and rare existences. Just one black trigger is powerful enough to really turn the tides and level up any army, so having multiple really puts countries in an overwhelming advantage. The strongest nation known so far, Elector, has 13 black triggers. The second strongest nation known so far, Kion, has 6 black triggers, and Border has 3 black triggers. As the story continues, the importance of black triggers will continue to rise. In the future, I believe we will still see an ammo's black trigger get revealed. Of course, this includes its name and its abilities. There's also a possibility that an agent in Border will create a black trigger to turn the tables in a future desperate situation, similar to how a Border agent created the Fujin. The opposite scenario can also be possible, with one of the people from the neighborhood creating a black trigger to turn the tables against Border. I also believe that the mercenary that killed Yuma will be revealed and shown later down the line, including his trigger and its abilities. Or the nation we have to deal with in the future, as we're heading towards the away mission, will also likely have their own black triggers shown and used, even if they don't have as many as Elector or Kion. Overall, there's a lot to look forward to when it comes to black triggers in this series, and I'm excited to be here for the ride. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Support my Patreon too for early access to more videos like this one. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.